So as you may already know, there are different shifters for demand and supply, and we have two acronyms that can help us memorize these different shifters. So for demand, we use the acronym MERIT, with M being the market size, E being the expectations of future prices, R being related goods/products, I being income, and T being case and trends. For supplies, we use the acronym TIGERS, with T being technological changes, I being inputs, G being government interventions, E being expectations of future profits, R being related goods in production, and S being sellers/producers.
Well, we first go to scenario 1, where the price of cooked chicken, a substitute for beef, increases. So for each scenario, we want you to figure out what happens to the supply and demand curves for each scenario. Pause the video and find out. Now, when the price of cooked chicken increases, buyers are less willing to buy cooked chicken. Surprise, surprise. In which they will turn to the substitute, which is beef. And so the demand for beef will increase or shift right, in which in turn it increases both quantity and price of, well, beef.
Okay, let's look at our second scenario. In this scenario, new enchantment books shops opened, increasing the prevalence of enchantment books. One of these enchantment books is a looting book. The looting book has a magical ability that allows more beef per cow to be produced. Now, in this scenario, how would the supply and demand curves change? Pause the video to give it a try yourself. Okay, here's the answer. In this case, the supply curve will shift to the right. The looting books serve as an advancement in technology which allow more beef to be produced, hence increasing the supplies, shifting the supply curve to the right.
Hi guys, I'm Andy, and here's scenario 3. So the new Minecraft update decreases the beef saturation points, making beef a less enticing food source for players. And this is an example of how taste and trend can affect demands. So as a result, demand shifts left because beef had become less of a taste or trend for Minecraft players. And since the supply doesn't change, it causes a decrease in both quantity and prices.
Well, thank God Sayasu is gone. But now we're in scenario 4, where Sayasid, after invading our Minecraft server, has taken 50% of our cow population. Once again, we would like you to pause the video and see if you can figure it out. Well, because the input for beef, which was cows, decreased, our production is not at its, well, let's say optimal. So this would indicate that the supply curve would shift to the left, which would decrease quantity and increase price.
Alright, for our next scenario, we're going to look at what happened to the demand and supply curve when the price of the beef changes. So in this case, the price of the beef changes and increases from 0.03 emerald to 0.05. How would this change the supply and demand curves? Pause the video to give it a try yourself. Okay, so the answer is that none of these curves will change. Instead, it will be a movement along the curves. Because price does not affect the curves, price only affects quantity demanded and quantity supplied. As price increases, the quantity demanded decreases. On the other hand, as price increases, the quantity supplied also increases. Because there will be more quantity supplied than demanded, this will create a surplus.
So for scenario 6, let's say so the price of wheat decreases. And because wheat is an important feed of cows, but is also a resource used in the production of bread, which is a substitute for beef, how will this affect the supply and demand curve? Take the next few seconds to pause and answer the following question. So as the price of wheat decreases, the supply of beef will shift to the right because there's an increase in the input. However, as wheat decreases, the demand will shift to the left because there is a decrease in the related goods price, which is the bread's price. So this would cause a double shift. In this case, you would draw two separate diagrams. One diagram that only considers the shift in supply and one diagram that only considers the shift in demand. As you can see, because price decreases in both scenarios, there will always be a decrease in price. But since quantity increases in one scenario and decreases in the other scenario, quantity becomes indeterminate.
And here comes the last scenario. To help the beef producers, the quote unquote MC government create a beef price floor of 0.06 emeralds. However, this is way above the current market equilibrium points, which is 0.04 emeralds. So this is an example of government intervention, and since the price floor is above the equilibrium points, it is a binding government intervention and causing an increase in market price. And this results in an increase in quantity supplied and a decrease in quantity demanded. And this eventually causing a surplus in the market.